I've been a fan of Wizball since I was a tiny wee boy, and I've always loved it. But even in these days of widespread emulation, I've never really thought to look at the other versions of Wizball. I mean, why would I guess? The C64 version is constantly lauded as basically the best game on the entire platform, but when people do top 10 lists or top 100 lists even of the other platforms, it doesn't seem to get a look in. So I decided it was time to have a look at why that was. Are they just terrible? Are they good, not great? Well, the answer is kind of a mix of all of the above. But before we get into that, it's time for a bit of Wizball prep. Some of you don't know what it is, so what is it and how does it play? The plot of Wizball is, put simply, a wizard and his cat trying to bring colour back into the world. A world where an evil wizard has stolen all the colour. I don't know, maybe he's making a painting or something, probably not. But yeah, the plot doesn't really matter. It's a shoot 'em up, which is a mix of a Gradius style upgrade system with a huge wadge of originality and bags of personality mixed in. You shoot things, collect little colour drops to fill in the world, upgrade yourself, and then fill all the colour in on all the levels. Sounds simple, right? Well, the idea is. So a whiz tip before you start, since some of you might decide to actually try and play the game, and you should. When you pick up one of those upgrade bubbles, you'll see the upgrade system flash, just like Gradius. In order to select the upgrade, you have to waggle the joystick. And at first, when you play the game, it might seem almost unplayable because the control system just seems nuts. This is one thing that completely throws people and a load of people just give up. But the whole thing is you have to just get the first two upgrades. So the first one will give you left and right control, and the other one will give you up and down control. There you go. Now you're ready to have a go of the game, and maybe not rage quit 2 seconds later. In this ranking, I'll be comparing these games to the main original gangster C64 version. The original and the best. Sorry if that's a spoiler. The original was made by Sensible Software, and to me the rest are just ports. So how close it is to the original becomes a factor, and it goes without saying, this is all my opinion. If yours differs, that's great. Tell me what your opinion is, but keep it civil. Okay, let's start with the bottom of the barrel. And right down here with the crusty bits is the Amstrad CPC version. I mean, Wizball being flip screen is odd enough, but as a result of the flip screen, you can die almost immediately upon entering the screen because the enemies might just be waiting for you, and that's far from fair. Add to this the enemies being really far too frisky in the early levels, and you've got a version of Wizball that it's just not an awful lot of fun to play. Another bad thing is that when you're picking up all the upgrade orbs, they're all in exactly the same spot, so when you die, that's really boring. You're just doing the same thing with no variation whatsoever. And talking of variation, the enemy variation isn't that great either, and it's just a really rough game. Even the cat seems to die like super easy, and with upgrade orbs being a bit like hen's teeth, replacing the cat is, well, it's a bit of a nightmare really. Without a trainer, I never even managed to fill a colour pot, and when I did, I found they hadn't bothered with the bonus level. Good job too, as it'd have only been crap. Next in line is the version released on the Thomson MO5, which is a French 8-bit computer, and I have to admit, before doing this list, I hadn't really heard of it. They've made some odd choices here, such as really restricting the upgrade tree, and making it so that every level is filled with every type of colour drop, so you don't have to flip between levels to get the right colours, but it's still playable. There are a few other issues. There are areas of the map, even on the first level, that you can get to easily enough when you're a bouncing ball, but when you're floating, you can't even get past it. Also, the spray weapon is just broken. It only sometimes fires in most directions. It's not as bad as the Amstrad version, but if this was the only version out there, then Wizball wouldn't be remembered fondly at all. And unsurprisingly, there's no bonus level here too. And then we get to the Atari ST and Amiga versions. And as was the case a lot of the time back then, since they shared a processor, they would just program it all on the ST and then just port it with no extra bells or whistles to the Amiga. They'd have to change the sound, but they wouldn't have to do anything else. So in other words, it doesn't use any of the niceness you get from all the Amiga hardware. Yeah, so basically the difference, as you can probably see here, is the ST version is a little bit smoother. Audio-wise, they both are different. Strangely enough, the ST seems to have the edge on this one because every sound effect just appears to be a drum sound. Both of these suffer hard from the "this is bullshit" factor, because some of the enemy patterns just feel unavoidable. And even the nice, safe little colour drops run at you like late for a train, making this not a huge amount of fun to play. Also, instead of on most of the other versions where you have different enemies peppered through a level, you get one enemy squad, and you have to kill that before another arrives. So if it's a type you hate, or you want to get your colour drops, you're just going to have to grind this one out. But hey, at least it's got the bonus level, right? Now, you can get the original 1987 DOS version working in DOSBox. However, even after reducing the clock speed, there's a lot of random speed up and slow down. And I don't know if this was in it originally, or whether it's just DOSBox and new processors and it just not behaving correctly. There are other oddities, such as the fuzz rate turns up really early, and that might be the same issue with the clock speed, I don't know. Other than that, it does feel like Wizball. Obviously it's got the weird CGA colour scheme, but it does feel like Wizball. It even has the bonus level, but again the bonus level isn't actually that great anyway. The only reason it's this high in the list is because the issues might be because of DOSBox, so I'm pretending this is the original and I'm pretending it runs fine. I wouldn't advise anyone play it now. The Spectrum version of Wizball is alright. It's not perfect. The enemy placement is a little bit excitable and there's quite a lot of flicker. Not to mention some of the weird issues with enemies disappearing. But it's a fairly competent version of Wizball. This one also minus the bonus level. But of all the versions of Wizball that got released at the time, this was the second best. Now we come to the 2007 remake. This is still downloadable and still works fine even now. And it's a nearly pitch-perfect recreation of the C64 original. It even adds some quality of life improvements, such as you don't have to waggle a joystick to select your upgrade, you press another button. It's a great version that is only let down by a lack of gamepad support, and it does lack a little bit of character of the original. However, don't let those minor niggles bother you. If you're happy using keys to play, it's a wonderful and heartfelt recreation that absolutely does justice to the original. And here we are, where we always knew we were going to be. The C64 version, the original, and the best. So what is it that makes it so good? Is it the difficulty curve? Is it the smoothness of the controls? Is it the amount of character it has? Well, it's all of that and more. I mean, it would be wrong of me to ignore the incredible music, the fun graphics and the brilliant sound effects, but really, that's just the icing. The C64 version is the best simply because it plays the best. That's not to say it's a perfect game. For example, when you get to the bonus level you can't shoot through the words at the start, but it's about as close to a perfect game as the C64 ever got. And that's the end of the ranking. Hope you agree with me. If you don't, that's fine too. There was of course a sequel to Wizball called WizKid, and that was absolutely bonkers. But that's outside the scope of the video, so until next time, have a great time.